take the state and honorable report.
Morning, please be seated. Party ready to proceed in the Commonwealth versus Zilius. Prosecution, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, ready to proceed.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's start by introduction of the parties. We'll start with prosecution.
My name is Caleb Short.
My name is Jane Iman, and I'm doing the opening statement.
My name is Libby Welch. My name is Katie Bigman.
And for the defense, are you going to introduce your witnesses as well? Go ahead.
My name is Emerson Turkin. My name is London Packard.
Is that everyone for the prosecution?
Yes.
All right, defense counsel, go ahead, introduce yourselves and your witnesses.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Caleb Tadashi, and I will be doing the opening statement and cross-examination of Emerson Turkin and London Packard. May my co-counsel and witnesses introduce themselves?
May.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Sailor Bravant, and I will be doing the direct examination of Tatum Zilias and Micah Estratton, as well as the closing argument.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Christy Santosa. I will be doing the direct examination for Reese Denner, and I am a co-counsel for the defense.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Elsa Torres, and I am a co-counsel for the defense.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Micah Stratton. I'm the owner of Stratton Lift Services, and I was a crane operator at Franklin Stretch.
Good morning, Your Honor. I am Reese Denner, and I was the journalist for Franklin Stretch.
Good morning, Your Honor. I am Tatum Zilias, and I am the owner of Project Z.
All right, thank you. Before we begin, Mr. Zilius, charged with 2 counts of murder in the second degree. Each of those charges, third degree, yes. Each of those charges, how do you plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, are there any preliminary matters before we head to opening statement?
No, Your Honor.
In prosecution, when you're ready, you may proceed.
May it please the court, Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Janae Iman, and I shall be making the opening remarks in this case. Allow me to introduce my co-counsel, Libby Welch, Caleb Short, and Katie Bingman. This case is about a reckless individual named Tatum Zilias, who disregarded weather reports and expert opinions, leading to the loss of 2 innocent human lives. On the morning of August 31st, 2012, high winds at the construction site were picking up. The crane operator, Micah Stratton, started the first lift of the day, almost losing control of the roof piece. Due to the weight and the wind at that time, the piece almost hit the nearby apartment building. The defendant, Tatum Zilias, carelessly recklessly continued the project, even in the face of the problematic first lift, highly erratic winds, and known overweight loads. He continued despite an expert opinion to postpone, and OCIS expressing their concerns on the project. The defendant ignored these experts, pushing to complete the project because of the bonus incentive. Later, on August 31st, 2012, at 3:15 p.m., the lift proceeded under Tatum's direction. A few minutes into the second overweight load, disaster hit, and the crane's hydraulic line snapped. The crane collapsed, and the roof piece crashed to the ground. 2 innocent people were discovered deceased under what was left of the crane. We will prove that Tatum Zilias is guilty of third-degree murder because he knowingly disregarded the serious risk of the weather affecting the crane that was already over the weight limit. We will also prove that Tatum operated in an unsafe working environment that led to this tragedy. Our first witness is Emerson Turkin. She's experienced in construction and has 30 years working at job sites. Emerson Turkin simply wanted an accomplished and safe build on her resume. However, Tatum Zilius wanted the opposite. He wanted to finish as quickly as possible without being shut down for his many safety violations. Emerson will testify that it was Tatum Zilius who encouraged speed over safety if it meant profit would be greater. Tatum's recklessness was ultimately responsible for the cranes collapsing and killing 2 people. Our final witness is London Packard. London Packard was a resident of Franklin's Trench, but this safe haven was taken away from her by Tatum Zilius. London lived a peaceful life before the project started. As soon as Tatum began the project, the residents were treated poorly and were expected to leave the trench, the only home they had ever known. London will testify that it was Tatum Zilius who ignored the law and the concerns of the weather on the day of the build. We are asking the court that they find Tatum Zilius guilty of third-degree murder because of his recklessness. On August 31st, 2012, Tatum Zilius didn't just ignore the safety protocols. He didn't just push the project to get completed to get more money. He was ultimately responsible for the crane collapsing and killing 2 people. Thank you.
Does the defense wish to make an opening at this time?
May it please the court, Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Caleb Tadashi, and this is my co-counsel, Sarah Brabant, Christy Santosa, and Elsie James. On January 1st, 2010, a project to make the world a better place was born. A man decided to create a public housing development for people who don't have any of the everyday blessings that we do. This young man is Tatum Zilius. He is a hard-working entrepreneur who wants to make the world a better place by helping those in poverty because he grew up in poverty. At the work site, Franklin's Trench, Philadelphia, there were squatters living in the vicinity. These squatters, particularly Artie Dent, one of London Packard's friends, resisted the construction. This majorly slowed down progress. The project was not going to get done and the deadline would never be met. Everything would be ruined. This forced my client to make difficult decisions like shortening the safety checks, otherwise known as safety sweeps. If this wasn't hard enough, in April, my client received terrifying news that the lifts, that the weights for the roofing panels had come in, but they were extremely heavy and seemed heavy. But the crane operator assured my client that the lifts were safe. Now, on August 30th, 2012, the project was almost done, but because of a hurricane hitting off the coast of the Gulf of America, Philadelphia was receiving some pretty difficult winds and weather. Weather was awful, and temporary roofing of the building was not going to hold. Now, if this temporary roofing collapsed, it would destroy months of effort. So these lifts had to be carried out. Unfortunately, in this, the crane collapsed, taking 2 lives. Now, the issue in the case today is whether Tatum Zilius is guilty of third-degree murder 2 counts. In other words, this means that out of Zilius's recklessness and malice, 2 people have died. But evidence will show that it was not my client's recklessness, but that of London Packard's friend, Artie Dent, one of 2 that died. And now, for the rest of the trial, me and my co-counsel will prove there is reasonable doubt in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's evidence, finding, once and for all, Tatum Zilius innocent of these unfair charges against him. Thank you.
Is Commonwealth ready to call their first witness?
Your Honor, I'd like to call our first witness to the stand, Emerson Turkin.
Do you affirm that all the evidence you will give the court and jury on this trial include the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your name for the record. On doing so, you may inquire. And just a word to the bailiff and our witness, left hand goes on the Bible, right hand goes in the air. We'll work on that.
Can you state your name for the record?
My name is Emerson Turkin.
Emerson, tell us, where did you go to school and what is your degree?
I went to Penn State University and I got a degree from there in construction management.
Can you share your experience with us in construction?
I have over 30 years of job site experience and I built my reputation like exactly how I wanted it.
What is your safety record?
As site supervisor, I personally didn't get things done the fastest, but I had a pristine safety record.
How did you first meet Tatum?
Tatum actually approached me in 2011 about working on the trench project.
Did you have any concerns about working with him?
Yes, I definitely had concerns working with him because his reputation was very clear. Speed means profit, and extra speed is worth paying a few citations, and that was very much so a concern to me.
Did you name your concerns and what were his
Objection, Your
responses?
Honor. Counsel is meeting the witness.
All right, I'm gonna let you finish the question, then I'll rule. Don't answer until I rule. Go ahead and rephrase. You can ask the exact same
Okay.
question.
Did you name your concerns and what were his responses?
I'm gonna allow the question because it calls for a narrative on what were the responses, so it's overruled. Go
Thank you,
ahead.
Your Honor.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Did you name your concerns and what were his responses?
Yes, I did confront Tatum about this fast means good policy. That was like a big concern to me. But Tatum assured me that that was all in the past, and he promised me complete site control, and I foolishly believed him.
What was it like working with him on the site?
I would often hear Tatum saying like fast means good, fast means profit, and that was the whole culture around here. I mean, there was like really dangerous stuff happening too, like unsecured scaffolding, unlocked equipment, and there was like heavy machinery that should have been checked months, if not years beforehand.
Your Honor, I'd like to enter the following exhibit marked as exhibit number 1 into evidence.
Any objection to exhibit 1?
No, Your Honor.
Number 1's admitted.
You have what has been marked as exhibit number 1 for identification. Will you identify this, please?
This is the memorandum of understanding.
Can you skip down to number 5 and read how Project Z was going to get paid? Please read the section highlighted.
For its work in developing the Franklin's Trench property, Project Z will be paid as follows. Upon completion of all constructional work, including all roofing. On or before December 31st, 2011, $30 million. On or before October 31st, 2012, $25 million. Then on or after November 1st, 2012, $15 million. All work done by Project Z will comply with applicable federal, state, and local regulations and building and construction codes, including all Office of Construction, Inspection, and Safety Code. If such violation results in death, the city and HUD may cancel the contract.
So can you put into simple terms how much money Tatum would lose if the project was not finished before October 31st?
Well, like $10 million is on the line. Like if we didn't finish before if we finished before October 31st, we'd be getting paid $25 million. And if we finished anytime after that, our payment would drop all the way down to $15 million.
What happened on January 10th, 2012?
That was the day everything changed. Tatum, he came by the site and like it was nice. Like he went on for a little bit, like how pretty the site looked and stuff, and then he began to tirade, and that went on uninterrupted for at least an hour. And the climax is when he looked right at me and he said, "I don't care if people get hurt. We can pay for that, and we can pay for anything but time." And this project was going to get done. And his actions that followed that were just totally reckless.
So after your conversation in January, to what extent were you losing control?
I was like constantly losing control because Tatum I was site supervisor and he never valued my opinion and my concerns. And he kept cutting my safety sweeps over and over again. And he even added a second shift. So now I was working a 16-hour site alone and he didn't even ask me about it. And yeah.
Did you have any concerns about the roofing panels?
Yes, because when we got the final weight for the state-of-the-art roofing panels, we found out that they were 200 tons over the max limit, and I knew this was a mistake to continue with the lift because, like, not only were they way heavier than expected, but they had these solar panels built into them and like wind turbines, and then it made the weight unevenly distributed. And I knew this was very reckless for him to continue with the lift.
What was the job site like in June 2012 as the deadline approached?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is asking a question that calls for a narrative or general response.
I'm going to allow it overruled.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. What was the job site like in June 2012 as the deadline approached?
So Tatum, he was on site 24 hours a day, and he then decided we need to be on site 24 hours a day also. So he added a third shift. So now all of us were working around the clock, and this was taking a very big toll on all of our workers, like you could tell. And like Tatum just ignored all the risks, and our workers were getting very hurt.
Can you please describe your morning meeting with Tatum in early August 2012?
I decided to bite the bullet, and I confronted Tatum about the huge risk we were taking because I knew we should not continue with the lift. And he just said to me predictably, "Remember, my dear M, if we don't finish fast, we die, and nothing you say or do can change that now, and just go make yourself look busy." And then like I've been working here I've been working on construction sites for 30 years, and like after that I kind of just, for the first time, I kind of just lost heart for the job and I stopped caring.
Can you please tell us about your conversation with Tatum on August 30th?
Tatum was very determined to get these overweight roofing panels in time before Hurricane Isaac hit the Gulf Coast. It was like all hands on deck, like this lift was going to proceed at all costs. And I tried to have a rational conversation with Tatum because I knew this would be a concern with all the heavy wind and rain, but he was just having none of it.
What was the weather like on August 31st, and how did Tatum respond?
That morning, I brought Tatum an even worse weather report from the night before, saying that the heavy winds and rains would come even earlier than expected. And this was very much so a concern, so I told Tatum about it, and he just ignored it. He didn't even care.
You said the weather wasn't great. How did the first lift go?
During the first lift, disaster came almost instantly. Micah, our professional crane operator, he lost control over the crane and he almost plowed into the apartment building. And Micah, he's so trained, and I've never seen him have an incident like that, so I knew this wasn't his fault.
As the second lift approached, what was the weather like?
The rain quieted down the tiniest bit, but the wind was just getting stronger and stronger.
Was anyone concerned about the second lift?
Grace was very concerned, and obviously so was I.
What was your recommendation and why?
I recommended postponing the lift the next day because of how bad the weather was, but that was ridiculous, of course, because we all knew that Hurricane Isaac, with all the horrible weather, was going to ground us there for at least 3 days. So I just decided to tell Tatum what he already knew, that the panels were pushed way beyond the load limit for the crane, and that the horrible weather was going to make it hard to predict how it would react in that situation, and that with all the heavy rain, the ground upon which the crane stood was getting very soft. But again, Tatum ignored me, and he just disregarded the risks posed by the horrible weather.
30 minutes later, the lift stopped, and where was Grace?
Grace had stormed out from the booth, and she decided to watch the lift from below.
And when the lift stopped, what did Tatum do?
Tatum, he bolted out from the booth, and he went to confront Grace because she had raised the red flag, and I saw them literally fighting over the green flag, and it was crazy, and it was kind of hard to tell exactly what was happening because the weather was just horrible, but I am quite sure that I saw Tatum just snatch it from her hands, and he just waved it at Micah.
As a professional project manager, describe what you witnessed next.
The rest is just horrible history. From the top of the lift, the wind gusted stronger than it had all day, and I saw the roofing panel, it just caught the gale, and in seconds, the best crane in the Mid-Atlantic just plowed to the ground.
Your Honor, I would like to enter the following exhibit marked as exhibit number 2 into evidence.
Any objection to exhibit number 2?
No, Your Honor.
It's admitted.
Okay. Your Honor, it's fuzzy. Is there something I should do?
You can ask Ms. Bartol if she can zero in for you. It's above my pay grade.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's a lot better.
You have always been marked as exhibit number 2 for identification. Will you identify this, please?
This is the final OCIO report regarding August 31st, 2012, the collapse of the crane, fight and field.
Will you please read the section highlighted?
The collapse of the crane, fight and field resulted from a shocking lack of regard for common sense, regulation, and proper construction codes and proper construction procedures by Project Z. These violations including lifting an amount in excess of the crane's capacity without approval and lifting during high winds. In conclusion, management failed to ensure crane was properly maintained and workers were properly rested, then overloaded the crane in an attempt to meet an artificial timetable. Management then attempted lift despite dangerous, unmonitored winds, failing to recognize the danger inherent in lifting a convex object under the circumstances. The consequences were both predictable and tragic. Management failures caused the deaths of 2 individuals. Quinn Baxter.
Okay, so according to exhibit 2, was Quinn Baxter's investigation and conclusions in agreement with your concerns?
Yes, definitely.
So what were your final observations?
I already know what Tatum's gonna do because, I know this guy. He's gonna try to blame this on the squatters in London, but that's a joke because the squatters were very annoying and they made work very slow, but they were totally harmless. And Tatum just knowingly disregarded the risks posed by the wind, and he never listened to anyone's opinion but his own. And now 2 innocent people have passed away because of him.
Thank you, Emerson. No further questions, Your Honor.
May cross-examine.
Thank you, Your Honor. Emerson Turnkey, were you the site manager at Franklin's Trench?
Yes.
So Zilius left you in charge.
Until he took over, but yes.
When Zilius returned to take over, was work falling behind?
Yes.
Did Zilius, after that, try to save speed to speed it up?
Yes.
Did you do anything to stop it?
I tried to talk to him many times and he never listened.
Now, when you had a meeting with London Packard, did you blow up on London and start with you squatters?
Yes.
Now, after one day in early August, when you confronted Zilius, was your heart just not work after that?
No, because Tatum just made my job not fun anymore. He never listened to me.
Yeah, so after you confronted Zilius, did you just sit in your office and not sign papers?
Yes, because nothing I said or did helped in my case, so I just didn't care anymore.
On August 30th, when you and the other managers held a meeting, didn't you encourage Zilius to take the fatal risk by telling him that the roofing panels were not going to hold?
Can you restate that question?
On August 30th, when you and the other managers held a meeting, didn't you encourage Zilius to take the fatal risk by telling him that the temporary roofing panels were not going to hold?
Yes?
Objection, Your Honor. Ambiguous.
Counsel, I think you can break your question down into parts. It might be easier to get an accurate response. Let me try re-asking. That's a step.
Now, the next day, on August 31st, do you think you might have saw somebody poking around near the crane that morning?
I might have, but like I'm not a professional, so like I didn't. That's like Micah's job, so I didn't really think anything of it.
Now, that day when the crane was about to lift, did you do a sufficient amount of sweeps at the
I tried to, but again, Tatum just like cut it again.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
This time be excused. Ready to step down, call your next witness.
We would like to call our second witness to the stand, London Packard.
You affirm that all the evidence you give to the jury and court in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Let's have a seat. State your name for the record. On doings with counsel, you may inquire.
London Packard.
Hello, London. Thank you for coming. Could you please state your name? Oh, wait, never mind. Can you tell us a little about what life was like in Franklin's Trench?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is asking a question that calls for a narrative or general answer.
It's background information. I'll overrule. Go ahead.
The trench was a wonderful place. It was like heaven. And it had a perfect cover, and it had steam vents for cold nights, and nice soft dirt for our feet, and for growing basics in the summertime.
And about how long did you live there?
27 years, I believe.
Did Tatum Zilius and his mother ever live with you?
Oh yeah,
Objection,
Tatum.
Your Honor. Counsel is leading the witness.
Overruled.
Tatum and his kind mother lived with us for about a month or two, but they didn't. They were just like any other trencher.
Can you walk us through the day you first saw the crane arrive?
The day that the crane arrived, I knew that me and Artie Dent would have to stand for our home, and it changed everything really.
How did the other trenchers react when they heard the news?
The trenchers didn't really take it really good news, you know. They all just figured they would probably have to find a different home, you know.
What were your thoughts about Artie Dent at the time?
Artie Dent was just a little harmless friend. He was really just another trencher.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is asking the witness to give an opinion for which she is not qualified.
Your answer will need to be confined to your own observations. So it's overruled with that limitation.
Can you tell us what Operation Turtle was?
Operation Turtle was Artie's way of just slowing down construction. It was really harmless though. He would just move some tools over here and there, you know.
What are your thoughts about Tatum Zilius in Project Z?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is asking the witness to give an opinion for which she is not qualified.
You say your question? You can ask it again. I just want to hear it again.
Okay. What are your thoughts about Tatum Zilius in Project Z?
You can answer to the extent you've made observations and have such an opinion. You're not to speculate.
Tatum Zilius in Project Z was like, I didn't think, he was taking away our home, and I've been there for so long that I think that we had the right to stay in our place.
Did anything change when Tatum Zilius came to the site? If so, what did you notice?
Everything changed the day Zills came to the site. He put up a fence to keep us out, and when he came to the site, he was cutting safety sweeps, so people started getting hurt.
Were there any accidents or safety issues that you personally saw?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is leading the witness.
Overruled. She's asking what she personally saw.
Yeah, there was people getting their hands smashed and their toes ran over, and there was one girl that fell off a ladder, and then Zealous ordered the next person to go up that same ladder.
That's horrible. Did you see any other accidents?
There was there was almost accidents, like people almost got electrocuted, or people were getting their body smashed and stuff like that.
Your Honor, I would like to enter the following exhibit, marked as exhibit number 3, into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
3 is admitted.
You have what has been marked as exhibit number 3 for identification. Would you identify this, please?
Yes, it's the it's a license and inspection letter of receipt.
What are you holding in your hand?
It's the letter I found in the trash.
So it's a letter, and who is it written to?
Tatum Zillis, Micah Stratton, and Emerson Turnkin.
Who is it from?
Emily Roebling from the city of Philadelphia.
What is this letter about?
It was saying that when Zillis asked for approval for the lifts, for the roofing, he asked the city if he could lift them because they were overweight, but the city said no, basically.
Mm-hmm. Can you please read the first highlighted section for us?
Yes. The City of Philadelphia Department of License and Inspection is a receipt of your application for permission to conduct the construction lift above engineering limits. Although the application was well documented, additional information is required before we can reach a final agency determination of your requests, specifically for requests for the following.
Can you please read the second highlighted section for us?
Please submit this information within 14 calendar days of this request. A failure to respond to this letter could deemed a basis or denial of your request. A final determination of your request will be made within 30 days of your revised submission.
How did this letter affect you personally when you found it?
Well, when I found this letter, first off, I was so excited because I thought it would mean that me and Artie Dent at least had a month or 2 left, because it meant that Zillis wouldn't be able to do the lifts.
Mm-hmm.
But when he started doing the lifts anyway, I was blown away. I knew Zillis had broken the law before, but not like this.
Yeah. What was the weather like on the day of the collapse?
When I woke up the day of the collapse and I heard the howling winds and the hardness of the rain, I almost knew that I was like, oh, Zillis, it can't do the lifts.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't surprised when he started preparing for them anyways.
What were you thinking when they decided to go ahead with the lift?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is asking the witness a question for which she is not qualified.
Sustained. That's another question.
How did that first lift go?
The first lift was pretty bad, but not as bad as the second one. The panels were literally swinging back and forth in the wind.
What do you remember happening around 3 p.m.?
I think 3 p.m. was when an angel came down from the booth with the flags in her hand, and she waved the red one in the operator's direction.
Mm-hmm. Did Zillius respond at all when the red flag was raised? What did he do?
Oh, yes. Zillis came out of nowhere and ripped the red flag, the green flag, out of the angel's hand and waved it ferociously in the direction of the operator.
Were you there when the crane collapsed?
I was.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm gonna allow that. She can answer the question. You cannot speculate as to anything you didn't observe firsthand.
I was there. It was kind of all like a blur, though.
I
I'm gonna stop you. The question was, were you there? You answered that. If you have another question, you can ask.
I'll just move on to the next question. Can you describe what, oh wait, never mind. That's actually all my questions. Thank you, Lyndon. No further questions.
Any cross-exam?
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, London, are you the self-proclaimed leader of the squatters living at Franklin's Trench?
Can you be more, can you restate the question?
Are you the self-proclaimed leader of the squatters living at Franklin's Trench?
Yes, for the most part.
Objection, Your Honor. This testimony is irrelevant.
All your enthusiasm, counsel, you don't get to object to your own counsel.
London, were you friends with Artie Dent?
Yes.
What meeting did Reese Dentner put together for you?
She was trying to get us to have a sit down with Tatum Zillis.
However, on the day of the sit-down, weren't you stuck with the site supervisor, Emerson Turnkin?
Yes, I was.
While you had the meeting with Emerson, was Artie Dent in earshot the whole time?
Yes.
When you suggested to Turnkin that they move the site and Turnkin blew up at you, what was Artie's reaction?
I believe he came at us. He came at us.
After that meeting, did Artie come running at you, specifically Emerson, with a shovel?
He did, but he meant no harm. Artie is really harmless.
Was he bellowing, holding the shovel above his head?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
It's cross-exam, he's entitled to lead.
Yes.
After that meeting, did Artie start vandalizing and sabotaging the site?
Yeah, but yes, he did.
Were you on board with Artie's plan?
Not fully, but I was part of it, yes.
Now, did this guy have any mental issues?
Yes, he did.
Was he on a medication for it?
Artie thought that it was, yes, he was. He thought it was a plot against him, and I can see why.
Did he ever take the medication?
He did rarely, yes.
Your Honor, I would like to enter what has been marked as exhibit number 4 into evidence.
Any objection to number 4?
No, Your Honor.
4 is admitted.
Please read all the points except the very last one.
Where am I starting? Just at
Every single one except the last point.
Okay. No longer will this, sorry. No longer will the Salaties shine their bright signals down upon our beaten brows. No longer will the arm of the massive alien stretch down on the bottom of the trench. This strong line dug deep in the sand, is where I will take my final stand. The power of the wrench, the power of the people, is so downtrodden that there is nowhere to go but up. This wrench in the works will allow me to rage against the alien machine. as
Participation.
okay, is the exercise, excuse me, of the power machine with another has a right to. So terrain is the exercise of power beyond right, which is no can have a right to have a right. If man is the state of nature, be so free, as been said, if he be absolute lord of his own person and possessions equal to the greatest and subject to the nobody will why will he part with his freedom?
Thank you. Your Honor, I would like to enter what has been marked as exhibit number 5 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
5 is submitted.
Please read the highlighted section on the top.
Artie even talked about making it extra dramatic by killing himself on the site of construction.
Now, I would like to refer back to exhibit number 4. Please read this last point.
The answer is simple. A trench coat martyr, blood that will stain forever. That will forever stain this strain project. A spot that can never be washed out. A mark on what will be home to the trenchers of Franklin.
Thank you. Now, I would like to refer back to one statement. Going to read the last one. Please read. It's actually on 2 pages, so please read the bottom highlighted part.
I found an envelope addressed to Reese Dentner, of all people, in it. There was a bizarre manifesto thing. I guess he really meant to make a statement after all.
Thank you. On the night of the lifts, do you think you saw Artie in his trench coat near the crane?
I can't be sure, but I believe it was him.
Can you describe the last time you saw Artie?
Yes, I was looking in his direction and I saw him and his hands were raised in terror or defense maybe. I'm not sure. But that was the last I saw of Artie. He was dead and so was Zill's sister.
Was he in his trench coat?
I believe.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Free to step down, call your next witness. Any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Prosecution rests. Defense ready to call its first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to call Micah Stratton to the stand.
You affirm that all the evidence you will give to the court and jury in this trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
State your name for the record. On doing so, counsel you may inquire.
My name is Micah Stratton.
Okay. What was your role in Franklin's Trench?
I was a crane operator at Franklin Trench.
Your Honor, I would like to enter an exhibit number 6 into evidence, please. Let's see.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
6 is admitted.
Okay. Can you tell me about your experience with cranes?
I have a degree in mechanical engineering from Drexel University, and I've been working in the construction field since I turned 16. I've also been a proud member of the International Union of Operating Engineers for over 25 years. From 2002 until 2006, I was the business manager of Local 542, a position akin to its president. I've also served on the board of directors of the Association of Crane and Rigging Professionals for a decade, and I regularly speak at the annual meeting of the Crane Institute certification classes. I've also received lifetime service awards from the Association of Wire Rope Fabricators. My mom founded Stratton Lift Services. ELS is the Mid-Atlantic premier provider of specialty cranes and sling systems. There's no more special machine in the world, at least to me, than Fight and Phil. When the Franklin's Trench incident happened, I've been working with Phil almost exclusively for over 18 years.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would like you to recognize Micah Stratton as an expert witness.
Any objection? Mr. Stratton, will be recognized as an expert.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to enter what would be marked as exhibit number 6 into evidence, please.
I think that might be exhibit 7, counsel.
7. Okay, my bad. 7. Thank you.
Any objection? No. 7 is admitted.
Would you please read the highlighted section of exhibit number 7, line 12?
Prior to August 31st, 2012, we never had a major accident.
Would you also please read line 15
We started using a higher grade steel in the cables.
and 29 to 31?
In April, we got some disturbing news. The completed panels weighed over 2,900 tons each. This was an especially significant problem because Phil has a normal maximum engineering load of 2,750 tons. A crane can lift a lot more than its maximum engineering load, which is generally set around 85% of its likely failure rating.
And also 33 to 34, please.
Phil had done several loads between 2,800 tons and 3,000 tons in the 90s.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would like to refer to exhibit number 4, please.
Go ahead, it's been previously admitted.
Please read the highlighted section. Okay, I didn't highlight it, excuse me. Would you please read starting at point 5, starting at this wrench?
This wrench in the works will allow me to rage against the alien machine.
Thank you. What was found when the crane was stopped at 7:45 a.m. on August 31st, 2012?
A wrench was found in Phil's gears.
I would like to refer back to exhibit number 7, please. Would you please read the highlighted section?
They didn't find anything wrong except a missing fire axe or something.
What could Artie Dent have done to the hydraulic lines?
He could have chopped my hydraulic lines at the wrong time, which could have slowed the spin enough to tip Phil over.
On August 31st, 2012, how did you feel about the big lifts?
I'm sure I had Phil under control. I just know I did. I had the green flag too.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Any cross-exam?
Hello, Mrs. Stratton. Thank you for being here. You were the crane operator during Project C.
Yes.
You believed it was Zilius and Turnkin who were running the show.
Yes.
And OCIS had lost its authority over this project.
Correct.
You also saw injuries increase and safety sweeps decrease over the course of this project.
Yes.
More specifically, you hadn't done a full safety inspection for 4 months.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about the crane's specifications. The crane's maximum load was 2,750 tons.
Correct.
Yet, the panels being lifted weighed about 2,900 tons.
Yes, but a crane can carry more than its than load.
Yes, thank you for that. But you've experienced the hydraulic lines snap before when the weight exceeded the weight limit.
Yeah, that was only once though.
But the project never received approval for the 2,900 tons.
Yeah.
Also, on a related note, your crane needs special permission from the city to exceed the weight limit. Sorry.
Could you please restate the question?
Your crane needed permission from the city so that you could exceed the limit of the crane.
Yes.
But the project never received approval.
No, but it was the city's fault for not being timely.
On the day of the lift, strong winds were affecting the crane.
Yes.
You lost some control of your first lift due to the wind.
Yeah.
You even called the office to ask whether to proceed with the second lift.
Yes.
You knew weather conditions could be getting worse.
Yep.
OCIS contacted you at 2:15 about the safety of the second lift,
Yes.
pointing out an updated weather report with higher winds.
Yeah.
But you said the lift was safe.
Yes.
But in your statement, you said it was mostly true.
Yes.
So your statement to OCIS was not entirely true, was it?
Yes.
Despite that, you and Zilius proceeded with the lift anyway.
Yeah.
So not only was the load much heavier than the maximum load limit, but winds were quite strong by the time of the lift.
Yes.
Just one more question. You acknowledge that hydraulic lines can fail under heavy loads and strong winds.
Yeah.
That concludes my questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Your Honor.
Let me step down, call the next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to call Tatum Zilias to the stand.
Do you affirm that all the evidence you gave before in the jury of this trial is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please have a seat. State your name for the record. Upon notice of counsel, you may inquire.
My name is Tatum Zilias.
Can you describe your childhood?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance to the statement.
I'm gonna allow it because it's background information.
What was the ultimate goal of Project Z?
You can answer the question.
Oh, my bad. Can you describe your childhood?
I was born into poverty to a homeless mother and a father I never met. We relied on public assistance and community support. But despite our struggles, my mother worked multiple jobs to pay for my education. She was determined that I would have what she never did.
What was the ultimate goal of Project Z?
My goal with Project Z was to make the world a better place.
Your Honor, I would like to refer to exhibit number 1, please.
Go ahead.
Would you please read point number 2?
Project Z shall acquire Franklin's Trench from the city for a price of $1.
Did you hear that? Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, and Your Honor,
Counsel, that's
the
argument.
prosecution.
You can ask a question.
Excuse me?
You can only ask questions at this phase of the trial.
Okay. Next, I would like to enter into, just a second. Okay, at this time, I would like to enter an exhibit number 8 into evidence, please.
Sorry, was that 8?
Yes, please.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
8 is admitted.
the artistic rendering of Franklin's Trench.
Thank you. What would you do if the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the Mayor's Office, and the Commonwealth would help fund the project and let you have the property for $1?
I'd turn the ditches into a public housing development.
How did you want to turn an urban blight, the Trench, into a story of success?
I wanted to turn it into a home for families in a 100% sustainable way. We designed it with double-paned windows, recycled insulation, and solar power.
What simple instructions did you give Emerson Turnkin?
Follow the code, protect the workers, but don't do what doesn't need to be done.
Your Honor, at this time I would like to enter into evidence exhibit number 9.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
None is submitted.
Would you please read lines 53 through 55, starting at "They were really inspired"?
They were really inspired to be free to get things done, and their morale went even higher when I showed that I would pay the workers compensation claims that were accumulating.
Who is this referring to?
The workers.
Would you also please read the highlighted section, lines 57 through 61, starting at "Then in April"?
Then in April, we got some terrifying news. The panels were done, but they were 2,900 tons each. 2,900 tons was over the contractual engineering limit on the crane. I thought we were cooked, but then Micah Stratton explained engineering limits are always set below maximum capacity. Micah told me that the big crane had handled that load years before with only one issue, and it probably could again.
Thank you. By June, how much time were you spending at the site?
I was there every day, sometimes from dawn to dusk, because we added another shift so that we could be working around the clock.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would like to refer to exhibit number 1. Would you please read point 5?
For its work in developing the Franklin's Trench property, Project Z will be paid as follows. Upon completion of all structural work, including all roofing, on or before December 31st, 2011, $30 million. On or before October 31st, 2012, $25 million.
And continuing on page 2.
On or after November 1st, 2012, $15 million.
Thank
Upon,
you.
oh,
Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Upon completion of all additional work, including all plumbing, electrical, and decorative work as provided in the contract, $5 million.
Okay. What would happen if Hurricane Isaac hit before the roofing panels were in place?
The winds could destroy the roofing, and if rain got in, it would destroy weeks of work, and I'd be ruined. I'm exaggerating, but not by much.
Your Honor, I would like to enter in exhibit number 10, please.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
10 is submitted.
Would you please read the highlighted section in orange?
Then she said that she is confident that the lifts are safe.
Your Honor, I'd like to refer back to exhibit number 9, please. Would you please read lines 75 through 76?
Micah assured us she could pull it off as long as we got it done by the time the winds really kicked up. Which was supposed to be early in the morning, or evening, sorry.
Would you also read lines 85 through 86, starting at Micah was totally confident?
Micah was totally confident, and she said her crane could do the job.
Thank you. When the squatter came around the site, what did you do?
I ordered a quick sweep, which the code permits, if there isn't any evidence of tampering.
What were you trying to provide for the next generation of children who lived in Franklin's Trench?
I was trying to provide good, sustainable homes.
Okay, would you please read the highlighted section?
But the squatter, he ruined everything. He destroyed that crane, that roof, Project Z, my vision, and the dreams of hundreds of families.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Cross-exam.
Hello, Mr. Zilius. I'll be asking you some yes or no questions today. You were the head of Project Z,
Yes,
which means that you were responsible for final decisions
yes,
and hiring Stratton Lift Services.
yes,
So under your leadership, the faster the project was completed, the more profitable it would be for you.
that's true.
With profit in mind, you were determined to meet October 2012 deadline.
Yeah.
Or else you'd be ruined.
Yes,
And you became frustrated with the pace of the work,
yeah, I wanted to get it done.
and also the delays on the site.
Yes,
So you reduced safety sweeps from an hour to 20 minutes.
yes,
That led to safety citations from OCIS.
yes, but I paid those and told the workers to keep going.
Yes, and also injuries on the site as well.
Yeah,
You then learned that the roof panels exceeded the crane's limits.
yes, but Micah assured me that her crane could do the job.
You then requested permission from the city to exceed the crane's limits,
Yes, I did.
but you never received permission,
We were waiting for approval.
and you proceeded anyway?
Yes,
Now let's talk about the weather during the day of the lift. You were aware severe weather was approaching,
yes,
and site managers were concerned.
Yeah.
Then according to you, the first lift was a bit scary,
well, yeah,
but yet you chose not to postpone the afternoon lift.
yes, if we did, our project would be ruined.
And Grace from OCIS even suggested stopping the lift.
Yes, she did.
So let me get this straight. It was you that gave the signal to proceed with the lift,
Yes,
even though two site leaders wanted to postpone.
yes,
Let's recap what happened once the signal was given. The crane began to lift the overweight panels. Yes or no, please? Thank you. The winds exceeded the recommended safety regulations.
sorry, can you say that again?
The winds exceeded the recommended safety regulations,
Yes,
and then the crane collapsed shortly after that,
sadly, yes,
and two people were discovered deceased under the crane.
yes, tragic.
That concludes my questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Detective Wright, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Any additional witnesses for the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call Reese Stetner to the stand.
From all evidence will be given to court and jury this trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
State your name for the record.
Reese
So
Stetner.
counsel, you may inquire.
What did Artie did call his attempt to disrupt the site?
Operation Turtle.
What was Operation Turtle?
Operation Turtle was Artie's obsession of losing his home.
And what did Artie do for Operation Turtle?
He moved tools around and caused graffiti on the machinery.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would like to reference to exhibit number 10.
Go ahead, time's been previously admitted.
Can you please read the highlighted section of exhibit number 10, starting on page 3, paragraph 3, the one in blue?
Yes. As the mayor's spokesman told me, Philadelphia is proud to be the home of such a path-breaking housing development, and the mayor committed to green buildings like this one.
Now, can you continue with the orange
Yes.
section?
Then she said that she is confident that the lifts are safe.
Thank you. Now, can you read the other highlighted section at the bottom of the page, starting right here?
Yes. Green. Something that is
Something with
minimal harmful effects towards the
environment. Thank you. Now, can you please read the yellow highlighted section?
Yes. But it was ignoring veterans like R.D. Dent, who was openly talking about taking down the crane that placed the lid on the coffin of his community.
And who was the only person who ironically spoke to you after the crane collapse? And what did he say?
Artie, he left me a sealed envelope which London gave to me after the crane collapse, which I assumed was his master plan that he had told me in July.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would like to enter in the following exhibit, marked as exhibit number 11, into evidence.
Any objection to 11? Ordinance is admitted.
Can you please read the highlighted section of exhibit number 11?
Yes. Tatum Zilius is an awful person and a cheapskate, but a murder, that's just silly.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Hello, Mr. Dentner. I'll be asking you some questions today. You were present at Project C site during the entire build? The site was fast-paced,
Yes.
and work continued even under the ideal conditions.
Yes.
Plus, you saw people getting injured on the job site,
Yes.
and work still continued?
Yes.
In fact, safety sweeps were not always as thorough as they should have been.
Yes.
Your Honor, I would like to refer back to Exhibit 10.
Go ahead, 10's admitted.
Could you please read the highlighted portion?
Yes. Then came Zilius. History for cutting corners is well known without the construction indignity, and with his back against the wall, this time no different. He blew off safety protocols and added a second shift a few months later, even a third shift under breakneck pace and site itself, because the utter mess, even shiny double-pane windows of Franklin Trench faced it, could not defend the light shining, seeing what was really breathing on the sun surface.
Thank you. So even you acknowledge Tatum was cutting corners and the job site was becoming a mess?
Yes.
Now let's talk about tensions on the job site. You observed arguments about deadlines.
Yes.
In fact, you heard Emerson Turnkin get scolded about money paying for everything. Everything except time. Time being the only thing that...
Counsel's question is calling for a hearsay response.
I'm gonna allow you to ask the question. I'm gonna hear the question in its entirety. You're not to answer until I rule. Go ahead.
Do you want me to just say it again?
Yep.
In fact, you heard Emerson Termkin get scolded about money paying for everything. Everything except time. Time being the only thing that mattered.
So you're asking about what was said by Emerson?
But he heard it. And
That calls for hearsay, so I'm going to sustain the objection.
You were present on August 31st during the lift
Yes.
and noticed warning signs before the accident.
Yes.
You could even hear the metal straining on the crane during the first lift,
Yes.
but the lift continued despite those,
Yes.
and then it collapsed.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Does the defense rest or do you have any witness?
The defense stands at rest, Your Honor.
Defense rest. Any short break before we go to closing, or are the parties ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please give your attention to the closing statement of prosecuting attorney. Your first step.
Your Honor, who goes first?
Prosecution.
Your Honor, my name is Libby Welch, and I shall be making the closing remarks in this case. 2 innocent lives were cut short, and it didn't have to be this way. Grace and Artie would still be here, living their lives, if it weren't for the cruel recklessness of Tatum Zilius. One bad decision led to another, and without any regard for human life, he pushed on and on aggressively until tragedy struck. We are firmly convinced Tatum Zilius is guilty of third-degree murder. So let's make sure that we understand how the state of Pennsylvania actually defines third-degree murder. The criminal code defines third-degree murder as any killing with malice that isn't first or second-degree murder. So the important part here is that it's any killing with malice. So how does the law define malice? The court's definition of malice is well settled and very clear. Malice consists of wickedness of disposition, hardness of heart, cruelty, and here's the important part, recklessness of consequences, with a mind regardless of social duty, although a particular person may not be intended to be injured. And listen to this. Malice may be found where the defendant consciously disregarded an extremely high risk that his actions might cause serious bodily injury. So how did Tatum show malice? Number 1, he was completely reckless at the job site. He caused workers to violate safety and construction codes. He has tried to say he only violated minor rules, but we know that's not true. London Packard watched as the workers turned their ankles, hurt their hands, and smashed bodies. London saw a person's foot get run over by a forklift, someone nearly electrocuted by live wires, and many other injuries. Also, he ignored Emerson Termkin's warnings at the job site about safety screws. And Tatum was quoted as saying, "I don't care if people get hurt. We can pay for that. We can pay for anything but time. The project is going to get done." Does that not sound like malice to you? And why was he in such a hurry? We can see that he'd be losing millions of dollars, and that he was desperate to get this project done as fast as he could. And Tatum started a second shift, then a third shift, even though accidents increased tenfold. Secondly, he ignored the weather. Right before the big lifts were scheduled, Hurricane Isaac hit. Emerson tried to have a discussion, warning him about the danger, but Tatum once again ignored him about the risk. Tatum saw the revised weather report. He knew the winds were coming earlier, and he still ignored the risk. He watched as Micah lost control of the first lift and almost crashed the first roof panel into the side of the building. He knew it was dangerous and proceeded to move forward with the second panel, ignoring the risk. Grace was a safety inspector. If she wanted to stop the second lift, that should have made Tatum pause. Instead, he tore it out of her hand and lifted the green flag to Micah, despite the winds and the risk. Lastly, Under state and local regulation and OCIS codes, Tatum needed special permission from the city since the roof panels were over the maximum limit of the crane. He didn't have permission. And London found a crumpled up letter from the city and said the lift was not approved. Whether or not Tatum ever saw that rejection letter does not matter. He knew he needed permission, and he knew he did not have it. Oh wait, sorry. Okay, this is recklessness. In conclusion, I'd like to quote our expert witness, Quinn Baxter, who's the lead investigator for OCIS. In her final report, after investigating the collapse of Fine Field, she concluded that, quote unquote, management failed to ensure crane was properly maintained and workers were properly rested. Then overloaded the crane in an attempt to meet an artificial timetable. Management then attempted lift despite dangerous unmonitored winds. Failed to recognize the danger inherent lifting a convex object under the circumstances. The consequences were both predictable and tragic. Management's failures caused the death of 2 individuals. In Quinn's professional opinion, it is the failure of management that caused the deaths. This is why we believe that Tatum is guilty of third-degree murder. No, he didn't intentionally kill them, but it is easy to prove that he showed malice in his recklessness time and time again. Thank you.
All right, please give your attention to the defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Sailor Brabant, and I shall be making the closing remarks in this case. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine that you are a poor, suffering child. You are hungry, cold, and you don't even have a safe place to sleep. Honestly, you don't really have a real place to call home. A table to come and do your homework on. A warm kitchen and hot dinner to come home to after a long day. And certainly no place to play games or read books or dream about what you want to be when you grow up. You never met your father, and your mother works long hours to provide for your basic needs. Tatum Zilias was one of those children. Zilias is simply a young entrepreneur who wants to make the world a better place by helping those in need, because he used to struggle himself and feels for these poor families. Zilias is being unjustly accused with third-degree murder caused by an unfortunate accident and the resultant effects of a crazed squatter. If it is true that Tatum Zilias wanted to help the squatters have better lives, then it is not true that he would purposely try to harm them. Tatum Zilias has benevolence. He is a man with great visions of bettering our society. He aims to turn a sore area in the city, the Trench, whose name itself indicates a dark, dirty, dreary, cold pit, into a bright spot, a place with warm homes, safe environments, and social acceptance. We need men like Zilias in our community who personally understand the needs of the suffering and have empathy toward them. We want men like Zilias to bring positive improvements to our community. We must keep this productive, proactive, and charitable man. Tatum Zilias is a two-sided coin. Not only does he have a heart and vision, but he is also hardworking and tenacious. The truth is, our community needs more men like Zilias who are hardworking, capable entrepreneurs that don't just talk and dream, but actually fulfill their goals. Unlike the squatters who tear down, trash, and ultimately demoralize, Tatum Zilias aims to build up our city. It was mentioned that Tatum Zilias bought the ground for $1. And the squatters, they're sitting there fighting to have it back, but Tatum Zilias bought that. Tatum Zilias is no lock without a key. He has visions, and then he puts them into action through Project Z. We need this man as an example for the present and future generation. Tatum Zilias wanted to turn the Trench into a story of success, and he wanted to do it in a 100% sustainable way. He not only designed the public housing development to help the people, but also to better the environment. Zilias designed the building with double pane windows, recycled insulation, and solar power. Regardless of numerous unnecessary setbacks, Tatum Zuias confidently pursued difficult decision-making under extreme pressure. If Zuias can't make a basic living, he can't do more projects, help more people, and hire more help to get his projects done for the good of the society. We all know that money is mandatory for keeping businesses in business. Zuias was only trying to limit his losses. Think about it. What if you were in that situation? If you were struggling financially and your business was failing, wouldn't you fight to save it, especially if you were helping hundreds of poor souls? Tatum Zuias made a difficult decision in the moment during extreme circumstances for the good of the project and the community. Not only was Tatum Zuias making hard decisions, but he was being forced to make them under sabotage by an angry squatter. From the beginning, Artie Dent had an obsessive motive to undermine Project Z. Artie has a history of violence. As Artie's friend London Packard testified, Artie tried to attack Emerson Turnkin. Emerson only got away because Packard threw himself in between them. Artie was clearly mad. He rarely took his mental health medication that was supposed to help him because he thought his own medication was a plot against him. Does that not clarify that he was mentally unstable? Before the accident occurred, this maniac squatter went so far as to suggest that he should kill himself on the site, although no one took him seriously. It is clear that Artie Dent vandalized the crane and committed suicide. From the beginning, he had the obsessive motive to ravage the worksite to stop Project Z. Reporter Reese Dentner testified that Artie caused continual mischief throughout the construction site, including moving tools and tagging machines with graffiti. He could have stuck a wrench in Phil's gears, fulfilling his manifesto. According to the expert witness, Micah Estratton, Artie most likely stole the fire axe and chopped the hydraulic lines on the crane with it, causing the lift failure, which killed Grace Hopper. Artie meant to make a statement, as made clear in his manifesto, a trench coat martyr, indicating his own death destiny. Tatum Zuias should not be unjustly blamed for Artie Dent purposely putting himself in harm's way to be killed. Tatum Zuias is pleading not guilty of third-degree murder. These deaths were an unfortunate accident and the resultant actions of a poor suicidal lunatic, not an upstanding young entrepreneur. If Tatum Zuias had intended to kill, he would have been going against the grain of his own vision and character, which is to make the world a better place through hard work and benevolence. Therefore, in final appeal, I ask, give a righteous verdict to clear the name of Tatum Zuias. Release this man from this unfair, unjust, and untrue charge of third-degree murder. Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I implore that you find Tatum Zuias not guilty. Thank you. I handed that back.
No, you didn't.
Good job, everybody. Tell me how you want to proceed. I have comments. I'm fine with your comments first.